AIG announces, oh, by the way, we don't give a damn how much money we lost, which is, by the way, $99.3 billion last year. Last quarter, they lost more money, over $60 billion, than any company has ever lost in recorded history. And they took $170 billion worth of taxpayer money in the form of bailout. And then they say, who cares? We're going to pay ourselves $450 million in bonuses. Okay. They say, but if that's not bad enough, the financial division that was directly responsible for the derivatives trades, the credit default swaps, the things that sunk our company and, in effect, almost the entire economy and the market, those guys, we're going to give them $165 million in bonuses to the worst losers in the entire country. You know, Rick Santelli on CNBC talked about how the guys who can't make their can't make their mortgages and are being foreclosed on are losers. You want to talk about losers? The guys at the financial division of AIG are the single biggest losers in this entire economy. But those guys, of course, they're not being punished. They're going to get $165 million in bonuses. But funny enough, that is not what I'm angry about. What I'm angry about is the fake outrage by the politicians. So they go on all the Sunday talk shows, from Larry Summers to then later Tim Geithner giving quotes, our Treasury Secretary, and then even Obama, we're going to get to Obama in a second, coming out and saying, oh, we are literally outraged. Apparently, Tim Geithner called AIG and berated them. There's a quote that he berated them. Wow. I tell you, with that $165 million burning a hole in and you know what? Let's talk about the whole bonus. $450 million burn a hole in their pocket. Boy, they had to feel like that berating really got them. That stung. What outrage, man. I remember we covered it on the show when we said they are not limiting their bonuses. So when they made that decision, it was absolutely crystal clear that this is exactly what would happen. Why do you think I was mad back then? Now they pretend to be surprised by it. How can you be surprised by it, Tim Geithner? There's a whole New York Times article that we covered on the show where you said, no, I demand that there not be an executive cap, that they not cap their bonuses at all. And you won that battle. So now when they pay themselves bonuses, because you allowed it, you set the rules, how can you pretend to be outraged? I mean, that's political crap. And everybody should know it, but they don't know it. So it's in the writing, it's in the legislation, and every single one of them signed on to it. And now they come around going, oh my God, you mean we let them have the bonuses? Of course you did, of course you did. That was an active decision on your part. So please spare me the outrage, please. Why? They're trying to deflect attention. They're trying to say, no, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. And by the way, the arguments we made back then turned out to be 100% correct. We said, now why should we take taxpayer money and give it to the people who bankrupted their companies? That doesn't make any sense. And if you give out a loan in normal free markets, it's a loan or a payment, or you get a majority interest, as we have in AIG, we own 80% of it, the United States taxpayers, you can set the rules. If you want this money, here are the caps on your pay. That is perfectly normal in capitalism. You have the money talks. Now, which sucker outside of the politicians, who are not suckers, but who are in fact willing enablers of Wall Street, would go and say with their own money, hey, yeah, I'm going to give you the money, but I'm not going to, no strings attached. And you can take any damn bonus you like, or sometimes we'll put in a couple of limiting clauses as they did with the final piece of legislation, but I'll give you loopholes that you can drive a train through, right? Which sucker would do that? If it was your money, you'd never do it, right? But since they're spending our money, they did it with abandon, and now it turns out when the bill comes due, they say, well, that didn't work out. It turns out everybody's angry about that. Yeah, wait a minute. Why are they taking? They're taking the bonuses because, like the old joke says, why does a dog lick his balls? Because he can. They're taking the bonuses because they can. So now Obama's going to come out and he's going to do damage control. Some of what he says I agree with, but it's too little too late, and he's disingenuous when he pretends to be surprised by this. But let's show you the first clip, and I'll tell you what the reality of the matter is. Here's Obama.
I do want to comment on the news about executive bonuses at AIG. I think some of you have heard a little bit about this over the last few days. This is a corporation that finds itself in financial distress due to recklessness and greed. Under these circumstances, it's hard to understand how derivative traders at AIG warranted any bonuses, much less $165 million in extra pay. I mean, how do they justify this outrage to the taxpayers who are keeping the company afloat? In the last 6 months, AIG has received substantial sums from the U.S. Treasury. And I've asked Secretary Geithner to use that leverage and pursue every single legal avenue to block these bonuses and make the American taxpayers whole.
Okay, please spare me, because you already had that opportunity before you gave him the money. And that's what we told you to do. And you guys said, oh, no, you don't understand. If we set rules on capping bonuses or salaries, there'll be a brain drain. That we'll lose all the talent on Wall Street. These same guys that you're now berating as reckless and greedy. What did you think? That they were going to voluntarily be good guys? Be like, oh yeah, President Obama chastised me, so I'll turn down that couple of $100 million bonuses collectively, right? We'll turn it down. Or me, individually, an executive, going to make $1 million, $3 million, $200,000. Who the hell's going to turn that down voluntarily? So, look, enough with the talk about greed. It is your job, President Obama, to set the rules. If you set the rules where they can take as much money as they like, of course they will take as much money as they like. Almost anyone would do that. So don't pretend to be surprised, don't pretend to be outraged when you set up the rules so that they could take this money.